Very good evening. Thanks for joining us here on Mirror Now. I'm Afrida Rahman Ali. In our top story at this hour, there seems to be no end to loudspeaker politics in Maharashtra. Shiv Sena and NCP have come down strongly on the BJP and MNS over the loudspeaker controversy. And in order to counter the BJP-MNS push, Maharashtra Chief Minister has now decided to go ahead with a massive outreach program. And in fact, he said that the idea and effort is to bring focus back on real issues of inflation and unemployment. CM Uddhav Thackeray will hold two back-to-back rallies for this purpose, one planned in Mumbai this month and the next in the month of June in Aurangabad. Meanwhile, NCP Chief Sharad Pawar also echoed a similar sentiment, talking about how real issues are not being talked about and the only politics that is playing out is to deflect attention. To talk about this, let me introduce, joining us here on the program is Mr. Niranjan Shetty, Chief Spokesperson Mumbai of the BJP, and also Aiyshwarya Mahadev will be joining us shortly. She is the spokesperson of the Congress party. Manisha Kayande, MLC and spokesperson of the Shiv Sena, is on the phone line. I'll come to you first, Mr. Shetty. Let's first listen in exactly to the statements made by the various leaders, and I'll then have a conversation with the party spokespersons.
It's ridiculous. The issue is that the Honorable Supreme Court has given guidelines and we are adhering to those guidelines. These people want to divert the subject. The issues are poverty, issue of unemployment, issue of price rise. And they do not want to discuss this issue. They want to make the other way. And they want to destabilize the government of Maharashtra. And that is why they are creating all these nuisance over here.
आणि ते करणार म्हणजे हनुमानाच्या नावाने करणार आणखीन कुणाच्या नावाने करणार या सगळ्या शब्द या मागण्या या चर्चा यांनी तुमचा वेतनी संघर्ष सुटणार आहे यांनी तुमचा हुके संघर्ष सुटणार आहे.
As we also heard Mr. Sharad Pawar and now Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, he was addressing party leaders, and there was a long pending demand to again start the second leg of, Shiv Sampark Abhiyan, the Abhiyan by the Shiv Sena to reach out to the people of Maharashtra. So while he was addressing to the party workers to begin this, he clearly said that, what is happening right now is the opposition is diverting from the real issues. The real issues are price hike, inflation, unemployment, and we see no one talking about that. So he said to the party workers that we have to reach out to the people of Maharashtra, and he himself will, go with them and reach to the people. And he also announced two rallies. One rally is been planned on 14th of May in the BKC, where the second leg of promotion or reach out campaign will be announced and will be started, and one important rally on 8th of June in Aurangabad. Today also, to understand, Raj Thackeray will be in Aurangabad tomorrow, and he has started from Pune to address the rally. So, an all-out strategy being made by the Aghadi leaders, where it comes to Sharad Pawar as well as Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, clearly, telling to the people of Maharashtra that the opposition, MNS and BJP, are clearly playing a divisive politics and raising a non-issue like loudspeaker and Hindutva agenda.
Okay, Mr. Shetty, you heard my colleague Abhishek there reporting on this, and Mr. Pawar calling it a deliberate ploy to deflect attention from real issues. Uddhav Thackeray has actually decided to now go on a campaign. One this month, another one next month, to reach out to the people and explain to them why this is the wrong kind of politics being played in Maharashtra. How do you respond, sir?
First of all, when I heard the Honorable Member of Parliament through your channel speaking about the price rise, inflation, unemployment, I think it's time that, the Shiv Sena leaders need to introspect. Because 70 years of the independence, and in spite of that, the honorable member is speaking about the price rise, inflation, and unemployment. So basically, they need to think about the realliance with the Congress itself. Having said that, in spite of that 70 years of governance with the Congress and they ruling in the state, and this Maharashtra state has been ruled by Congress since yesteryears, 5 years, 2 years They were with us for a few years, and thereafter also, if they are claiming that there are price rise are the major issues, poverty is major issue, then why not have they till date resolved all these issues? I fail to understand. The Honorable Member of Parliament needs to explain to the people.
You did not really answer my question, because what the MVA leaders are saying is that the current politics that is being played, obviously referring to the loudspeaker politics, referring to the MP-MLA couple issue that has clearly snowballed into a major controversy. Why is this brand of politics being played, and why the discourse, the political discourse, is not around the issues of the people? Aiyshwarya Mahadev,
I'll just give an example.
okay, go ahead. Then I'll go to Aiyshwarya.
Yeah. See, first of all, this kind of issue has never been raised by any of our leaders, either through any way, neither through public rally. It is the MNS leader, Mr. Raj Thackeray, and it is the media who's following them. We have petitioned, yes, of course, our Mumbai BJP president, our honorable
What about
MLA
Navneet Rana and her husband creating a controversy, whipping up religious sentiment? Is that has nothing to do with the BJP?
They are independent MLAs. It is the government who has to take care of them.
So you're distancing yourself from what the Rana couple has done in the recent. You don't stand by them at all. Is that what you're saying? Is that your party's position as well? That you have nothing to do with the Rana couple?
The couple can decide. They are the representative of the people. If they feel that this is the right issue, and we have also taken up the same issue. See, we have petitioned the Commissioner of Police that the Supreme Court orders should be followed as far as loudspeakers are concerned. It was much more earlier than when Mr. Raj Thackeray took a public rally.
Okay. Aiyshwarya Mahadev, go ahead, ma'am.
Good evening. I think the fact of the matter remains that India today is seeing pitiable lows that we never thought that we would reach, whether it's the sort of communal divide and strife in the country, or whether it's the manner in which we're unable to also fulfill the basic aspirations of people. We are plagued by price rise. You see a massive coal shortage where there is power cuts everywhere. Several states are in the red in terms of not having enough power generation capacity. You're seeing corruption at its height. And you realize that the greatest diversionary and distractionary tactic that the BJP has is to talk about these emotive issues of faith and create these communal breakages in society. And this is no different than what they're doing in all other states. You know, Afrida, what they've done in Maharashtra with loudspeakers, which is well settled law, to be very honest, and we've done shows on the same. We're saying if anybody exceeds the decibel limit, irrespective whether it's a place of worship or even if it's a public congregation space, the Supreme Court has already decided and declared what the law is. But the sort of politicization over it is only merely to distract from the actual issues at hand. You know, you talk about Maharashtra, what is happening, even in Karnataka, right? You saw the hijab, halal, azan, you know, one after the other, all as a manner to cover up from the BJP's blatant 40% corruption, like, you know, commission government that is being run. And today the issues that affect the common man are being forgotten, and the common man is now forced to sit and engage on communal issues, even whether he'd like to or not. And that is the biggest problem. And for you, what you use as a diversionary tactic is actually creating irreparable cracks in society that you may not be able to mend at all. You're ruining all of society just to cover up your flaws and, you know, faults. And I think it's extremely irresponsible of the government and what they've done, Afrida. And I really think today it has to be about the issues. Forget all of this, forget loudspeakers, forget communalism, talk about price rise, talk about fuel hike, talk about the coal shortage, talk about how India is slipping on every global indices. That is the issue.
Yes, I'll just, right. I'll take a quick word from Manisha Kayande as well. Manisha Kayande ji, Uddhav Thackeray has also fallen into the trap, isn't he? Because he says that, you know, he wants to send a message to all Shiv Senics to expose fake Hindus and work for the development. So clearly he is also engaging into in that particular discourse. Is Mr. Uddhav Thackeray also going to talk about why in Maharashtra there are so many issues with people reeling under price rise? Is he willing to talk about those issues and not fall into the same trap, Manisha Kayande ji?
Absolutely. Your question is really good. Honorable Uddhav ji Thackeray, since the past 2.5 years, he is the CM of Maharashtra. And you have seen that the way Maharashtra and Mumbai have tackled COVID, I think the world has recognized its efforts. And even the Supreme Court and everybody and many people have appreciated what Maharashtra has done and how Maharashtra has saved lives and did the best. I think the field hospitals, that was one of the best things that Maharashtra did and Mumbai did. I mean, I don't know in any other country after China has erected free field hospitals in just 18 days. So I
No,
think
but
that
now
Mr.
what is the
Thackeray-
agenda
No,
of the
see,
Chief Minister,
you didn't-
Manisha
listen,
Kayande?
you-
Tell us about this
listen,
outreach
You
program.
didn't interrupt the other spokesman.
No,
You
just
didn't
give us some
interrupt-
clarity because I don't want to digress to the COVID issue right
Wait,
now.
second, one-
Tell us more about the
I'm
campaign that
telling
is
you, I'm
planned.
telling
We
you, but
want to know about
don't
that
interrupt
by
me.
Shiv Sena.
Don't
Sure, ma'am.
interrupt me, Miss Anchor, madam. Please don't interrupt me.
Go ahead.
I'm
go ahead.
coming to your point, but let me see. You didn't speak in between the other two spokespersons, so don't do injustice with me, please.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. So what I want to tell is that Honorable Uddhav Thackeray is completely knows what he is doing in Maharashtra. What progressive steps are being taken in every cabinet meeting? You see that there are progressive steps. There is development. He is talking to the people of Maharashtra about developmental politics. Now there is no issue of any Hindu-Muslim riot in Maharashtra, but people. The BJP, simply because it didn't come to power in Maharashtra, they want to destruct the fabric of Maharashtra. Now, no, the Ram Mandir issue is resolved by the Supreme Court. Now, there is no issue about Ram Mandir. There is no issue of going to Ayodhya. There is no issue about the loudspeakers. Honorable Devendra Fadnavis, who is now the opposition leader, he was the Home Minister and the Chief Minister. So why didn't they talk about removing the loudspeakers from religious places? All the laws are in place. Everything is placed. When Devendra Fadnavis was the CM, that time also there was the same timing and the decibel limit. Now suddenly, and what is the issue? Then the MNS, which is the A team, B team, C team of BJP. Now who is funding all these sabhas? Tell me. And secondly, now what is the issue with the Hanuman Chalisa? That has nothing to do. Then they say it is Samajik Mudda. It is the social cause. They are talking of environment pollution, noise pollution. So why they don't approach the Pollution Control Board? Why do they have to go to Ayodhya? So this MNS is a non-entity. MNS has nothing to do with developmental politics. They are non-entity in Maharashtra, and people like BJP are using them for their benefits.
Okay,
And
let
BJP
Mr.
is
Shetty
the party.
respond, Manisha Kayande. You have raised quite a few points. You are saying there is an attempt to create a crack in the government, to topple the government. We have heard this argument before as well. Allegation against your party, Mr. Shetty, is that this is a ploy to try and topple the MVA government. You've been consistently trying to do so. So by creating unrest on ground, it would give you some sort of a reason to ask for governor's rule, and that the Shiv Sena once again alluding to the fact that this is a deliberate ploy to bring down the MVA government in Maharashtra. Mr. Shetty.
First of all, I would like to make it clear that we are in no hurry to come in power. We are very much aware the kind of alliance the Shiv Sena has chosen to be with, on the contrary, I would also like to remind my dear Honorable MLC, Manisha ji, that, it is the same patronage against whom their own patronage has launched catching attacks in the past. And now today they are in alliance with those same people. The Honorable late Shiv Sena leader, Sri Balasaheb Thackeray, has spoken vehemently against all the Congress and the NCP. And today we are seeing the kind of ideological, in spite of being an ideological difference, and they are together. And the reason why they have aligned together, everybody in the Maharashtra knows. See, I do not want to speak about the kind of corruption Mr. Anil Deshmukh is involved in. I do not want to speak about the other kind of corruption that Mr. Sharad Pawar has been engrossed into. And when we are speaking about the price rise, inflation, or the unemployment, we know how Mr. Sharad Pawar is employed. We know how Supriya Sule is employed. So we know many people, those who are under the disguise of the so-called unemployment price rise, how they have been employed for the past 70 years of the governance, in whether it is in Maharashtra or in Central.
No, but how do you respond to the charge that Manisha Kayande made that you've also deployed the MNS? Is that your B team that is raising the loudspeaker issue and
Also
going to
the
town
MIM.
around it? There's a rally today also.
Also,
How
the
do you
MIM is
respond to
their
that?
A team. MNS is their B team.
Yes, that's what I'm asking a response for.
Afrida,
Let Mr.
Afrida,
Shetty
I'm saying
respond.
Afrida, I think it's just just a coincidence. You need to understand that, as I said earlier, even before Mr. Raj Thackeray spoke in the public rally, my president had petitioned the police commissioner about the use of the loudspeaker and to follow the Supreme Court norms. I never, none of my leader have ever asked to
I
remove
would
the
like to
loudspeaker.
ask Niranjan Shetty, why the loudspeakers in Gujarat are still there? Why in Karnataka there is about 20 to 30% Mohammedan
The
population in
the
Karnataka?
government,
What
see,
about
it is
Goa?
you to respond.
So this is all.
See,
Why only in Maharashtra? Why
It is,
loudspeakers should
we
be
have
down
taken
only in
steps in
Maharashtra?
we have taken steps in Uttar Pradesh. Why
But
aren't you
why
speaking
now?
about
After
Uttar
Raj
Pradesh?
Thackeray says, why
Why
it was
aren't you
not
No,
speaking?
done
what I
in
want to
Manisha
ask,
ji,
can
why
I
are
please
you speaking
intervene,
about UP?
Manisha Kayande and Niranjan Shetty? I want to ask a simple question to Mr. Shetty that one can understand MNS is fighting for its political relevance. It has taken up this issue to somehow catapult itself to center stage. But what is BJP's compulsion not to speak about people's issues? I want to remind you, and
We
this
are
is for my
speaking
viewers' interest as
tomorrow.
well.
You can,
No, hold on.
Afrida,
You'll
you
have to
can
allow
send
me to
tomorrow your
speak
channel and
because
hear
I do
our
not want this
honorable-
discussion to become
you can
about
hear
any
the
other
honorable
religious or
Devendra
emotive
Fadnavis
issue.
speaking on the
Our
issue of
idea was to ask why the issues that are flagged by RBI governor, who says that Indian economy will recover from the COVID mess only by 2035. That's the state of our economy. Why are the elected parties not serious enough? And I'm asking each and every party about this. Aiyshwarya Mahadev, you respond first. Why is that issue not being discussed by all political parties, the recovery of the Indian economy, after the RBI governor flagging it off?
Afrida, to be honest, I think the Congress party has been very responsible as an opposition, whether it was the impending COVID wave that was happening, the sort of economic destruction and the decimation of the economy that we saw. We were the first people to talk about it. Not only did Mrs. Gandhi write about, the steps to rebuild, that a lot of Congress-run governments proactively looked into, taking that hit or trying to buffer that sort of blow, that body blow that COVID was going to deal with us. And, but the fact of the matter remains that to engage on issues such as this is very uncomfortable for the BJP, because first, they lack that complete sort of expertise to even run a nation efficiently. And second, if any global monitoring body tends to warn them, right, or even tell them that on some indices they're not doing too well, or that, they could do better, or COVID has hit them like this, whether it's even reporting on deaths and whatnot, that the BJP would rather not engage with it at all, because if it's inconvenient for the BJP will turn a blind eye to it. They're not going to look at recovery of the economy, even though if you look at CMI, if you look at unemployment data, if you look at the inflation, you look at...
But Aiyshwarya, you do understand it doesn't help to do the center-state tussle, isn't it? On these matters, at least, there is active cooperation and collaboration required. Let's talk about the nation at large. Let's just, grow up for, rise above the center-state sort of tussle all the time.
Afrida, there's that larger center state, that federal argument that comes into play here. Because, for example, when there's a coal shortage, the prime ministers will tell you that, oh no, the states haven't paid dues. While as the dues owed to the states are something that the center conveniently ignores. This idea of federal polity has completely broken down, whether it's the manner in which you legislate laws in parliament which override powers of the states, or whether it's the manner in which you treat states that deserve their dues and are not BJP run. And you're obviously not going to see cooperation coming from the states as well, because to them, they are their own sovereign unit for whatever it is. They have an elected government, and the manner of the stepmotherly treatment of the center is not doing the center any favors. Whether it was COVID relief, how much oxygen was going where, what was the COVID relief amount that was given to people, how much money was dispersed under the schemes that came out, you see there's a massive discrepancy. So even the states, this is a problem, that everybody should come to the table and have a bipartisan conversation irrespective of who's in government in that state. But that sort of conversation is not happening at all, because it has become a blame game where you simply
it has.
Did that.
Manisha Kayande, just want to take a quick last word from the two other panelists. 13 years is what it is going to take us. India among the worst hit in pandemic, and I'm saying this because you brought up the COVID issue and the recovery from COVID. I'm sorry, ma'am, but we are way behind in that. The economy will recover in 13 years according to the RBI. All states, irrespective of parties, should actually be brainstorming around what we can do. Today, again, there's been a hike on CNG prices. Ma'am, we spoke to people in Mumbai, and people are saying that we are under tremendous stress because of this consistent fuel hike. Isn't your government in Maharashtra responsible to discuss, bring these issues to the table? I'm not sure if Manisha Kayande is still with us. Niranjan Shetty, go ahead. Respond to Aiyshwarya Mahadev, please.
First of all, I would like to inform her that the Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Finance Minister, and the rest of the ministers are taking the corrective measures. But having said that, I would also like to bring to her kind notice, it is due to the policy paralysis of the previous government, which we had to inherit. See, we have inherited the 70 years of the decisions that they have taken, irrespective of the oil bonds that they signed with the other countries, and that is how it has been escalating time and again. So my government has to come up with all these hurdles and cross all these hurdles, and thereafter give certain good things to the people of the India. So it will take time, of course, and as the RBI governor said, the corrective measures are being taken and it is in the process.
All right. On that note, we'll have to wind up the conversation. Niranjan Shetty and Aiyshwarya Mahadev, thanks for joining us. I'm afraid Manisha Kayande is not connected, but thanks a lot for joining us in this conversation. Let's take a very short break. News and updates continue on the other side. Stay with Mirror Now.